Shalom, my name is Yael.Solomon. I live in a beautiful community named Tekoa here in Israel. Although my profession is that of a clinical psychologist working here in Israel, primarily with adolescents, but also in crisis and trauma, that is not the hat or the role that I am focusing today. I am coming to you with a message simply as a person, an individual, a mother that has a message that she wants to share with you, what it's like living in Tekoa during this recent wave of terror. I'm making this video in order to share with you, those living abroad, how this recent wave of terror can potentially affect us on a very personal level. Beyond CNN, NBC, Fox News, whatever it is that you watch or you get your news from, beyond the politicians' speeches, how this affects me as a mother, a working mother of 4 living in Tekoa, who relies solely on trams, buses, public transportation, and walking through the streets of Jerusalem to get to and from work. So this new matzav, this new situation, security situation that we're living in, has behooved me to plan, think, and strategize my day in a profoundly different reality. So for instance, the first thing, again, being a Trumpist, being a person relying upon other people's kindness of giving me a ride out of the yeshuv, out of where I live, to Jerusalem, I now try to arrange a ride to get me as close to my office as possible. I used to just go with whatever ride came, got off anywhere within the proximity of my office or a neighborhood nearby, and then either walk or take a bus depending on my mood, how much time I had, and the weather, and enjoy just being out in the environs of Jerusalem. I now am much more cautious. I try to get a ride as close to my office as possible. If I can walk, sometimes I prefer that to standing at the bus stop and being potentially vulnerable to attack. When and if I happen to be standing at a bus stop, because sometimes, again, being reliant upon public transportation, sometimes you just have to rely upon public transportation, I'm aware that I am now very much aware. I do not stand at the bus stop and play with my phone or make phone calls or just kind of stare off into space thinking about the rest of my day. I am very careful and cautious and hypervigilant about where I stand when I'm at a bus stop. I try to be somewhere in the proximity where I can see the bus coming, but I can stand somehow behind the bus stop so that if there is a potential car ramming, that is when a potential terrorist wants to and intends to drive over and run over Israeli civilians and maim, kill them, I am in a less vulnerable position while I am waiting for the bus. I also want to have a good a line of vision where I could see any potential terrorists approaching. Another thing that it comes down to a very micro level is in terms of what I wear when I go off for my day. I'm not quite really focused on fashion. I like to dress for comfort anyway, but my awareness and focus on how comfortable I am dressed is now a key element in my strategic thinking. I will not wear a tighter skirt, although I don't find them so comfortable. Anyway, I'll wear a skirt or wear pants that are much more flowy and much more relaxed. Why? The reason for this is so that I have maximum comfort level and ability to run if there is a threat, or also I'd like to believe run to assist if someone is in need of help. So I want to be in clothing that allows for full range of movement. The same thing in terms of what I'm wearing on my feet. Although now we are approaching winter and the summer days are few, I still sometimes wear sandals, although I have put my more fancy fashionable sandals in the closet and wear my shorish sandals. I believe they're called source sandals in other parts of the world, or sneakers, much to my daughter's embarrassment because that's a major fashion faux pas. And the reason I forego looking like, Israel's best dress list while I'm standing at the bus stop is so that, again, I am dressed for comfort and I'm dressed so that I can run if I need to. Again, run to flee in order to protect myself, or if there's a need, run to assist. Another thing that goes into planning my day strategically is what I pack in my bag. Now, most things remain the same as to pre-Wave of Terror, such as my wallet, my bus pass, a bottle of water, my schedule for the day, and so on. But there are two key elements that now have become very good friends of mine that are part of my bag and have to be very easily accessible. One of them is my pepper spray, which I hold in my fist, usually inside my bag so that people don't see me carrying it. And have easy access to it if I need to use it. And also a pair of wooden nunchucks that if someone gets too close or I need to defend or protect myself, those are also accessible. The last thing that I like to believe I felt was important prior to the recent wave of terror. However, if I'm completely honest, I would have to admit that this isn't always in the forefront of my mind, but since the situation has intensified, it's definitely become more prominent and important. And that is that the last thing that I say to my children and to my husband before I go off to work, usually involves also dropping them off at school, is to tell them how much I love them, how important they are to me, and how much of a blessing it is that they're in my life. The reason I do this is obvious, right? It's something that we all should focus on, the gratitude and the blessings that we have in our life. But there is a certain morbid thought in my mind when I'm saying it, that if God forbid anything happens to me during my day when I'm off working and for some reason don't make it home, I want the last thing that they heard uttered out of my lips is how important they are to me and how special they are and how much I love them. After I shared with you this very surreal, very perverse way of living one's life, you may think that it just would make more sense and be more logical for just, stop going to work, stay at home, keep the kids from ever leaving our yeshuv. But despite the fact of the recent wave of terror, in protest of the terror attacks, and in declaration of my faith and my hope to hold on to being positive and optimistic and belief in being a citizen in the state of Israel, we do not live in fear. I refuse to live in fear. I live in preparation. I live in caution. I live with a heightened sense of responsibility, but I will not live in fear. So yes, I at times am more stressed than others, but we continue with our life as normal as possible. I go to work, I come home from work, I go food shopping at the Rami Levy, where unfortunately a woman just yesterday was stabbed by a terrorist coming out of her daily food shopping. I still go to Rami Levy. I still take my kids into Jerusalem to go to their extracurricular activities, to buy clothes, buy shoes, everything a normal parent, a normal mother would do in the realm of their everyday. I do this because I am a Jew. I do this because I live in the state of Israel and this is my homeland. And I refuse to let the terror and the terrorists rob that from me. If I want the silence to be broken, I must speak up and share my story. The wave of terror here goes beyond the politics, goes beyond the discussion for who has the rights to the Temple Mount, goes beyond the talks and negotiations between Netanyahu and Abbas, goes beyond the terrorists trying to rip asunder any positive relationships between the Jews and the Arabs living here in Israel. This is my personal story. And I want those living abroad to understand how it affects us on a personal level. I ask for you watching this video to reaffirm and rededicate your commitment to Israel. Hang an Israeli flag outside of your door of your home. Make a public statement. Take that risk. make a public statement that you stand with Israel. And one more small request, if you're still watching, is that if you have family and or friends living in Israel, be in touch. Give a call, send an SMS, post them a message on Facebook to let them know that you're thinking of them, that you love them, that you care about them, and that you support them. Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate you listening and letting me share, again, a small little taste, an intimate window of how this recent wave of terror affects us on a daily basis. Shalom from Israel.